Elma police officer just got a letter of commendation for his work on this overpass here in Grays Harbor County back in June. There was a young man who had recently broken up with a girlfriend who was threatening to jump off this overpass onto Highway 12 below us here. Sergeant Carson has been in law enforcement for about a decade, and part of that experience and training has been to de-escalate situations like that. So he was able to, according to the sergeant, calmly talk the man out of what he was threatening to do here on the bridge. He said the man turned out to be very grateful, and he ended their interaction with a hug back in June. This is a good example of help that is out there in all sorts of forms. There's a 988 hotline for folks who may be in crisis, but also local police are trained to deal with these kinds of situations.
But we have these flexible learning spaces, and I don't know if you've had a chance to sit on this, but try out one of those seats. It's like it's not quite flat on the bottom, so it's a way to develop your core strength. And if you're somebody who maybe needs to move around a little bit more, that's a great way to do some learning and not feel stuck in an upright chair. But every classroom in our new building has this. So this is great for small group work, targeted kind of work. The furniture in here is all modular, and so it just works so well. Like I happen to have a big library, fourth graders, we do a lot of reading in here, so it's lovely to be able to feature this. Kids can find and borrow a book, and I think I have something for every interest that's out there. I'm hoping I do.
Well, today I'm taking you to a place that is kind of in my neighborhood, at least my work neighborhood.
Where are we today?
Hooverville Bar.
What can you tell me about this bar?
Well, we've been here for 20 years. It's the kind of place where everyone loves to get together, congregate, and have a good time. We are open 2 p.m. to 1 a.m. on any given day. We are always open 2 hours before every day game, 8 a.m. for Seahawks. We've got pinball, we've got skee ball, we've got darts, we've got pool. My pool game's terrible. I thought when we got these I was gonna play every day and be a master, but honestly I think I've played twice. We have a pretty good beer selection. There's 22 beers on tap. Delicious. So we always have $4 cans, Coors, Hams, Rainier. We pour generously.
You guys have a pretty big selection of drinks.
Well, we have a ton of whiskey. So this is one of my favorite ones, Watch Post from Westland. But honestly, tequila seems to be taking over.
All right, hit me up with that special drink.
What drink are you gonna do today for us?
All the kids love a green tea shot. 2 parts Jameson, 1 part peach schnapps, splash of sour.
Cheers to the green tea shot.
Cheers, y'all.
I love the 5-star dive bar, because I think we are a 5-star dive bar.
Well, I'm in Bellingham today, and the mission is to take that boat that you see there. Yeah, I'm gonna go and discover not 1 or 2, but 3 islands. That's the mission.
Island Opportunity Charters was started by Craig and myself in March of 2023. The main feature is a water taxi service, getting people from point A to point B. And we'll go to any of the islands in the San Juans. Anything that people need to get out to the islands, whether they want to go camping or exploring or they just need to get to their cabins.
It's been surprisingly popular. It's a good opportunity to get out on the water. Most places are reachable within an hour.
It doesn't take too long to start enjoying the breathtaking views of this trip.
It's an intimate experience. We get to share the islands with a lot of people that wouldn't normally be able to get out here on their own.
1 minute you're cruising across the water, the next minute you're watching whales.
There's some orcas around here.
We stopped at Susha to drop off some campers, a family of campers.
We've got our daughter Alana and our son Zev, and of course Cricket.
We're just here to soak in the scenery. We're gonna be hiking, we got a paddle board, and we're just gonna be relaxing.
Next stop was a small private island. This is a great way to discover many beautiful places to visit here in Washington State.
Oh my God!
Behind this Enumclaw Safeway is where authorities say they found a homicide suspect dead in his vehicle Sunday. They believe he killed 5 people in Oregon over the weekend. It all started when firefighters responded to a vehicle fire early Saturday morning at a rural property west of Portland. Inside that burned car, they found human remains, and as deputies searched the property, they discovered 4 more bodies and several dead domesticated animals spread across multiple structures and outbuildings. Detectives say they do not believe this was random and that the victims and suspect knew each other. But we still do not know what that relationship was, what led up to the killings, the victims' names, or how they're connected to the property. The investigation is ongoing.
We're looking at all different kind of options as we, approach the end of the season here and looking at everything and obviously want to keep our rotation intact, but we'll see, how things shake down here in the next few days.
If they approached you about maybe moving to the bullpen, is that something you would consider at this stage?
No, that hasn't been a thing.
I mean, I'm starting to shake now just because I'm just so fired up, and it's so frustrating. It's gone in a blink, and not knowing who did it is the worst part. What happened? Who would even thought of doing this? The days and the hours and the times to find the set and collect it is just it's heart-wrenching to come home and it was gone. It was going to go to the grandkids. It was ultimately going to be for them, for their college education, whatever the case may be. That was what the end goal was going to be for. Not for my kids. They're going to be mad now that they know that, but truly that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to put it towards them. It was valued anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000.
One person died early Sunday morning here on I-5 when a state trooper tried to stop a driver suspected of drunk driving. Investigators say the trooper tried to stop a 24-year-old male driver in the middle of the night. The driver kept going for 13 miles until they hit a car with 4 people inside. That sent the car into a lane of traffic where they then collided with the state trooper. The trooper suffered minor injuries, and investigators say one person died from their injuries here at the scene, while 3 other people in the car were sent to a hospital for minor injuries. Police tell me the suspect's vehicle came to a stop after the crash kept them from going any further. Police say that 24-year-old male driver from Kent is expected to be booked into King County Jail.
Good morning, I'm Farah Jadrin. We've been tracking breaking news overnight and into this morning for a serious crash involving a Washington State Patrol trooper along I-5 and Federal Way. If you joined us on King 5 Weekend Mornings, you know we've been tracking what has become a very active investigation. This is a look at the scene when the crash first happened at about 2:30 a.m. on I-5 southbound, south of 320th Street South. You can see troopers arriving on scene, more emergency vehicles coming there as well. They're all responding at that time. 2 vehicles appear to have been involved in addition to the State Patrol vehicle. Right there you can see an ambulance pulling up to the scene as well. Each of the vehicles appeared to have significant damage. At one point we could see the black vehicle flipped back onto its wheels. We saw at least one person put into an ambulance and taken from the scene. We have confirmed with Federal Way Police that at least one person was injured. We do not yet know who was injured and what the extent of their injuries are at this time. Now, we're going to continue to follow up with police about those injuries. We're also working to confirm what led up to the crash. It's unclear if the State Patrol vehicle was performing a traffic stop at the time of the crash, if that's why that trooper was in that area and off to the side near this HOV lane area. The investigation at the scene stayed active until about 10:30 this morning, meaning investigators were there for about 8 hours total. About 3 lanes of traffic were able to get by southbound and slowly overnight and throughout the morning during the investigation. Now, we did see the black vehicle and the State Patrol vehicle put on 2 tow trucks and drive away shortly before the scene was cleared. Federal Way Police is leading this investigation because of the circumstances. Now, per standard policy, an outside agency will take over when a law enforcement officer is involved in an incident. Federal Way Police is that agency for this particular investigation. Their investigators will run point. We're also working to confirm the condition of the state trooper and any other drivers or passengers who were involved in the crash. Again, one person we know is confirmed to have been injured. We don't know the extent of their injuries and how they're doing at this hour. We do have a team heading to Federal Way, and they are going to work to get us more updated information.
All right, initial reaction to Cade Anderson's MLB debut here at T-Mobile Park. First of all, he went up against a very good offense, the Chicago Cubs. You're talking about one of the biggest mismatches, if there was going to be any for him in the MLB, one of the best, hottest hitting teams in the league, and best against left-handed pitching as well. Giving up only 3 runs against this Cubs team in 5 2/3 innings pitched, fairly impressive. And really and truly, he had 2 pitches that were not where he wanted to locate them. You're talking about his changeup that went over the wall for a home run for Bregman, and then followed that up with a slider with Bush that went yard as well. So back-to-back home runs, not the way he wanted to end his performance. But if you look at the whole body of work, it was very impressive. You're talking about he was dominant through the first 3 innings. He was able to put guys away with both his slider, his curveball, and his changeup, mixing that in well with his fastball. I loved what I saw from him. I know that it was not necessarily the end result that he was hoping for, walking off the field with a 3-2 deficit, but a lot of promise with this kid. And when you talk about put away pitches, he certainly has what it takes to strike out numbers of batters here in the MLB level. He will be a mainstay for sure, and this was a great sign against a very tough offense. So yes, not exactly the end result that was hoped for, but Cade certainly proved he belongs at the MLB level.
A King County deputy's patrol car was sideswiped on SR 167, and it's a reminder about Washington's move-over law. I'm Bethany on the King News Desk. The deputy was conducting a DUI stop on southbound SR 167 when another driver failed to move over or slow down. The driver sideswiped the patrol car, blowing out its tire and knocking the push bar out of place, then kept driving. Luckily, the deputy was on the passenger side and wasn't hurt. So what does Washington's move-over law actually require? When you see a stopped emergency vehicle with flashing lights, move over 1 lane if you can do so safely. If you can't, slow down at least 10 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. And this law applies 200 feet before and after the stopped emergency vehicle.
This is 3-banded armadillo Dave, a resident at Cougar Mountain Zoo in Issaquah.
Perfectly protected. He says, hello.
He's not quite a year old yet. His species has a remarkable defense mechanism. It's the only armadillo species that can completely close itself up for protection. Dave moves around in a distinctive style. It's almost like he's a Roomba, according to Cougar Mountain Zoo staff. He zoomed around in this container during a King 5 interview, tracking down some mealworms. This is Rocco, a Cuban rock iguana who came to the Cougar Mountain Zoo after being donated by a reptile zoo that closed. He had a lot of popularity there, and the zoo staff says he's quickly become a favorite at Cougar Mountain. He measures 3 feet long and can grow up to 5 feet. Check out the full segment on king5.com and also learn about a special first birthday celebration that will be held for the 3 lion cubs at Cougar Mountain Zoo, Kamari, Zella, and Kemba. That event is set for August 29th.
Oh no. Need some help here? Want me to knock on that for a while? Fire! 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 I'm go.
How do you open your door?
There's not. I'm the neighbor. You got all your dogs? Got all your dogs? Got all your dogs?
Yeah, all the dogs are in.
Could Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson actually face a recall? We could find out in just 10 days. At a court hearing, a judge will decide whether this effort can move forward. This comes after 2 Seattle residents filed recall charges against the mayor, accusing her of neglecting public safety and challenging her decision to fire Police Chief Sean Barnes in the middle of a mass shooting investigation. But here's the big question. How often do recall efforts like this actually succeed? We asked a Seattle University law professor.
Historically, elections rather than the recall process have been the most effective mechanism for removing elected officials from office.
That court hearing is set for August 31st, and if the judge gives the green light, then recall supporters would have 180 days to collect more than 69,000 valid signatures. If that happens, Seattle voters would have the final say on whether Mayor Katie Wilson stays in office.